Hey, Hearts fans, welcome to the first episode of some postseason content from the Dirigo Union. I'm Charles. I'm joined by Shawn and Chaz for the first time, I think, over the internet. How you doing, Chaz? What the hell,
I
man?
know. It's been a minute. I fell off the map for a while, and then I came back. So we're
I
back.
always see you
Glad to
up
see you
behind
again.
me at Fitzy, and I'm like, I want to go say hi to you, but there's so many people there, and
Yeah,
usually we lock eyes, we do the thing.
yeah. I
So.
do the point. With the
Well, the reason why we're recording today is it's actually the final, as Shawn pointed out. I'm paying no attention since we're not in that game, but it is starting right now between Spokane and Knoxville. So keep an eye on it, and if anything happens, we could kind of talk about it. But the other thing is the union has received some messages in support of the podcast. I want to say thank you guys again for listening and also for reaching out and letting us know like what you're interested in. And quite a few people asked if we could do something along the lines of informing what the postseason looks like. So we're going to try and do that today, a little bit of what you can expect, and also go through the players and do a little bit of what we expect, who to stay, who to leave, knowing that we absolutely have no insider information. We have no idea who's staying or going. I will preface it with this, at least as far as I'm concerned. I love the unity that the team built, the cohesion this season. I wish we could have them all back. I really do. I think there's something to that. Like I like this group of players. I feel like they could only improve as a group. I'm sad that that's not going to be the reality because we know that's not the case in this league. I would take them all back. I would just have a few additions I'd want to bring in probably up front, and I think that's kind of how we all feel. So we'll just try and get through this though, based on who we just expect to stay and who we expect to leave. But I just want to say there's no insider information here. This is strictly as fans, and we'll do our best not to be wrong. But I guarantee we're going to be
Oh,
wrong.
we'll
So
be wrong.
on that note, Shawn, could you talk to listeners a little bit about what to expect in our first postseason / off season in USL One?
Yeah, so rolling into the off season here, after the final, which like Charles said, is currently on right now. That typically kind of opens the window for clubs to start releasing names that have been released. So that's probably going to be one of the first things that everyone's going to see. Certainly would like to point everyone over to Alex Ashton's website over on USL League One Updater. He does an excellent job in trying to keep up with the releases and the signings and the transfers and so on and so forth. And
We should put that link in the description of this video. Like any links, remind. Let's when we get to the end. Let's try and put the links in so
yeah,
people don't
we'll
have to go
absolutely
searching.
we'll absolutely do that. And he's got contacts across the league in both players and coaches and agents and so forth. And really a trusted individual in this network of USL League One that we come to enjoy so much this year. So I would certainly suggest to go over and check that one out. But the releases of names is really one of the first things that we're going to see, probably within the next 5 or 6 days. I would say. And then along with that, or maybe just on the heels of that, we will also see re-signings. So players that were like and a lot of these players, to what Charles just mentioned, to his point, is we would love to have on this Hearts team on year number 2. So I'll be on the lookout after the players that have been released, of the players that have been signed again for year number 2 for the Hearts. And then once we start getting deeper into December, you're going to start seeing new signings coming in. And you're also probably even before we get to December, you're probably going to see 2026 schedule be released as well. So really, that's the first 3 or 4 probably milestones, if you will, from about a month from time now. So I'm going from, here it is, the final being played, to probably somewhere around mid-December. That's probably what we can look to see from here on out.
Knoxville just scored 3 minutes in.
Uh,
Just so you know. Just so you know. Hey, Shawn, everybody that we signed would have been on a year contract. Is that correct? If you said that, I apologize if I missed it.
I always go on the premise of everyone's on a 1 year contract because it is USL League One. It's Division 3 soccer, and the nature of Division 3 soccer is is a lot of real young players are looking to get into a team and really showcase their talents. And like with any profession, they want to move up, right? And they want to make more money and they want to do the best in their career, right? So there's nothing wrong with players trying to go up to the championship or try to better themselves and earn more money in a very short window they have as a professional soccer player.
Short career, yeah. But there's no rule that says you can't have a multi-year contract in USL 1. I assume it's just very rare. Do we know the answer to that?
No, there is multiple year contracts. So I think it only is probably going to go as far as maybe a 2-year contract. So you got your 1 year and then your 2 year. But I think 90 to 95% of the players are probably on a 1-year contract.
Yeah. I'm just asking for some of the questions we've received, and everybody's curious. And as we navigate this first postseason, which is weird, isn't it? We looked forward to it for so long. Isn't it just bizarre to have it be over and have it be in this little postseason window where you're getting ready for the start of things, and it is just strange. So I think that's kind of it, really. I mean, they don't. Let's see, the schedule for the whole season you said is going to come out before the holidays, but that hasn't always been the case, I don't think. So that's a nice change.
No, it hasn't. I think it was just last year. I don't think we saw a schedule until somewhere early January. So I think some of that had to do with Fuego and the hailstorm bowing out of the league so late. I think they had a lot of rework in the schedule that they had to go do. I think this go round, I think they got their arms around most of the teams. I think Texoma, they were in early talks with Texoma and knew what their plans were before we got to the end of the season, and everything got made official. So I think they're in a good place for a schedule to come out early December, late November this year, which is going to be great for the holiday seasons and people that are trying to, think of some gifts for their Hearts fans.
Yeah. All right. I think what we're going to do is we're going to address every player that was on our roster this year and get the opinion from us. Like I said, we're going to be wrong on quite a bit, but let's see who we think is coming back and who we think is going to play elsewhere next season. I want to start with our goalkeepers. So we might as well start with Hunter, who played more games for us, obviously, than Cash. But Shawn, what are your feelings on Hunter's probability of staying with the Hearts next season?
Yeah, so here we are. We're going to look into that crystal ball the best we can. I fully expect to be wrong on multiple players, but no, it's can't be shy when you got a podcast, and we're trying to help people through these rosters. And I think Hunter is one of those goalkeepers that we would absolutely love to have back. It will all depend upon the interest that he gets from the championship side. If he's got some championship sides that are reaching out to him and he thinks he can realistically start for, I say maybe he gets tempted. But I think I'm gonna say Hunter Morse returns for year number 2 between the sticks for the Hearts of Pine.
Yeah, he's only what? He's only 20. He's not too old, isn't he? He's only like 25, 26, right?
He's right in that wheelhouse. Yeah,
he could definitely get away with doing another year or two here before leaving. I would be shocked if he also left. But he's also played a tough game too. He hasn't made any posts or anything to really show any interest or not. So, but I don't know if he doesn't seem like someone who's expressed like wanting to leave or anything. But I would be shocked if he did leave. Generally shocked.
He's the first player I talked to when I lucked out on my trip down to Naples. I got on the same flight as the Hearts. And I talked to Hunter for a little bit before the plane took off. And I thought he was so humble. The only thing he told me a little bit about was this is his living situation. He was figuring things out, and that he was comfortable, and I believe living with his girlfriend. So they just seem really settled. It seemed like he was happy to be settled. So that's not a lot of information to go on. It doesn't really mean anything. Everybody likes being settled. But because of that, I'm just going to that's going to sway me. I mean, I want him to stay so badly. I think he had such a great season for us, and that he could build upon that. So obviously, I want him to stay. I'll put my vote, my prediction in that he stays as well. So the three of us agree on that one. What about Cash? Because I think Cash. I don't think we'll see him for the Heart season 2. What do you think, Shawn?
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. I think with 7 new teams coming into USL League One, I think he's probably going to get a look as a possibility in one of those new teams to start. And certainly, with any player, they're going to want they're going to want minutes, right? So I think he is probably going to get an opportunity in another team inside of League One to get minutes. And I think Cash is probably going to go where he can get a starting job.
Chaz?
I think he's gonna stay. I think he's gonna stay for one more year because he did get the cup games. I think we're gonna have way more cup games. I think he might stay for one more year. Again, he's only 23. He's about to be 24. So it's like, I mean, yeah, do you jump and try to be a starting goalie and, either sink or swim, or do you try and, get some more cup game runs in before you make that jump? I mean, of course, we'll see how Hunter is, but I think he might stay for one more year. I wouldn't be shocked if our goalie situation doesn't change for one more year, because it was not like he never played the cup games, and he played well, and he was getting chance too, even when he did play. So I think I could see him saying, you know what, maybe I want to do this for one more year, get a little more experience, and then move on.
Gotcha. Okay, so 2v1, thinking he's gonna. Shawn and I feel like he's probably gonna part ways, and Chaz, you think he's gonna stay, but I'd be more than happy for our goalkeeper situation not to change, honestly. So, anything else you guys want to say about our goalies?
No, I mean, do we know about? Because I know is Yuta staying, right? As of now, it doesn't sound like the goalie coach is going anywhere. Right?
Oh, that's a good question. So yeah, Yuta, our goalie coach from Japan, made famous also by bringing in Wada through that connection. I do not know if it's been announced if Yuta is staying. Yeah. I know some people that talk to the club are aware of staff either staying or going, but I'm not one of those, so I don't know. Shawn, do you know if Yuta's staying?
No, I don't have anything on the coaching staff in any way, shape, or form. It'd be completely speculative on my part. I would assume, for the most part, if Bobby's going to be around, his coaching staff is going to be around, with the obvious exception of new teams coming in and saying, to some of his assistant coaches and giving them interviews for head coaching jobs. Other than that, right? I would assume his staff will pretty much stay intact as long as Bobby's still head coach of the Hearts of Pine.
Yeah, I think that'll. Yes, I think if Yuta stays, then our goalie, I could see our goalie situation completely staying the same for one more year at least. With where their ages and situation, I could see if Yuta stays, then I could see both goalies staying for that reason too.
Interesting. If we change it up though, you're not feeling so confident.
Yeah, I feel like if Yuta goes, that could definitely. I mean, yeah, because that's the guy. Sure, you've been with this guy for a year. He makes a decision who plays, who doesn't. I think if you try, but again, because I don't think we had an issue with our goalie coaching. I mean, I guess we had some questions about set pieces sometimes.
Well, he was also the set piece coach, which isn't always the case, as I would think. So there were some questions there just about how we're conceding. That got tighter as the season went on, but we certainly didn't score from a lot of set pieces. So maybe we'll get a set piece coach, or maybe Yuta will have another go at it. So let's move on to defenders. A big one here. Didn't start the season with us, but certainly finished it. Sega Coulibaly. What do you think, Shawn? Sega stays or plays his trade elsewhere?
Yeah, so I think Sega is going to stay, and I think that may have influenced the decision with another defender we'll talk about a little bit later. And I think, in my opinion, reading the tea leaves, as they like to say, I think Sega does come back for year number 2 and have a full season with number 45 as a center back.
Chaz.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Shawn. I think there was a little bit of influence for him to stay, and I think that might have a little bit of snowball effect on other ones. But I think at his age and with how he's kind of gotten more healthier through us, it's like why not? Why not stay here for one more year? You have a place, you have a starting spot. It would be kind of
I agree.
it would be
It
weird. It would
doesn't.
be weird to roll the dice again to go back out.
Yeah, it does feel like it'd be weirder for him to leave than to stay. Like it doesn't feel like the Sega Hearts project or partnership is over to me. It'd feel strange if he moved on, given everything you guys both said. So I agree with you. You alluded to it a little bit though, but let's talk about Shawn Vinberg. And I'm just moving through these guys a little bit because if we spend too much time, we'll be here
Yeah,
for
yeah.
2 hours. So because not to speed over anybody, but no, I think Sega stays as well. So we're all in agreement there. But you alluded to another defender, maybe that not being the case for Shawn Vinberg, who I think I called him Mr. Consistent. I think it was almost unfair that he didn't get more man of the match awards because he's not, and that's down to, he's a defender. He's not the most fancy player, and I mean that in a good way, but he was always first to get back. He didn't miss a lot of tackles. It's just, yeah, Mr. Consistency for me. He did post a highlight reel on social media, and the song choice is what was most interesting to me. It was On the Road Again.
Yeah.
So that it'd be weirder to pick that song if you weren't on the road again. So I think we got our first kind of subtle message via social media on a player. Definitely heartbreaking for me. I really like Shawn so much. He's such an awesome human being, person in all of our experiences with him. I love his podcast, the Footwork Podcast. If you haven't checked that out during this season, he had some Hearts players on it and some other great content. So please check that out. Footwork Podcast. Just would love to see him more. One of the few players, since I don't live in Portland, that I ran into in Portland one night when we were doing actually the coach's corner. He was with friends and maybe family. Yeah. So that was cool. It's just like really sad to see him go. Do you also think he's going, Shawn?
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, I do think he's going to leave the Hearts. And we have to keep in mind, right? When players come back for year 2, it has to be, the Hearts want them back, and they want to come back, and there's a whole myriad of conversations that need to take place between player and club in order for year 2 to work out for all these individuals, right? So sometimes it's things that we're not going to have visuals on that is going to make a decision on either club side or player side on why it may not work out. We assume that if Sega does come back, that maybe that would be why Bobby would be like, look, I can't promise you a lot of starting minutes if I'm bringing Sega back. So, what do you want to do? That's a conversation that hypothetically could have possibly happened, right? We're pulling at straws, and we said when we kind of started this, we'll probably be wrong more than right. But I think that's probably some general conversation that could have possibly taken place, and at his age and is still playing as strong as he was, like Charles mentioned, being first back to snuff out a counterattack. How many times have we seen Shawn Vinberg do that this year and winning those duels and commanding that back line and being part of getting Kamali Green to where he currently is today is a large part of Shawn Vinberg being right shoulder to shoulder with him for a large part of this year. And, defending and blocking goals at the goal line mouth for his goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So many good things Shawn Vinberg has done for this Hearts of Pine team this year. And if this truly is a 1 year for Shawn Vinberg, what a year that he impressioned upon all of the Hearts supporters this year. It was certainly a joy to watch Shawn Vinberg at the center back position for the Hearts of Pine this year. And he will have zero problem finding a team. I'm going to go ahead and say, he's from New York. The Cosmos is coming in. You never know.
What do you think, Chaz, about Shawn?
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely at the beginning of the year, when we were still trying to figure out our center back situation, uh, he probably could have definitely got maybe some more man of the matches. Him and Hunter definitely were kind of carrying that defensive back. But yeah, I do agree with Shawn that especially at this age, it was probably like, hey, we have a couple 30-year-olds in center back. We probably don't need more. If that conversation did exist, but I wouldn't be shocked if, yes, we do see him still in the New England region, in New Jersey, hopefully not Westchester, but it would not surprise me to see him. I would be, yeah, I could see that being our first, welcome back home when he does play against us.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't know if I would have said he was going if it wasn't for the Instagram story. I honestly think I would have said, I think we'll see him because he's a leader. He's a very good performer. He was name dropped, I believe, from a couple of the players we spoke to as, one of the leaders of the locker room. And just thought the way he carried himself. So I want to, if he does leave, and it's not his decision, if it's his decision, fair enough. But if it comes from the club, I'd love to know. I never will know this, but I'd love to know, like, why are we letting, is it an age thing? What is it? Because there's a lot of positives in that the positive column, I think, for keeping a guy like Benberg around. But we shall see. Obviously, all these guys have so many defenders, so a lot they depend on each other. But what about Kamali Green? We know he got one of two Rookie of the Year awards that were just put out this week, I believe, in the last 48 hours from the club. So, Chaz, do you think Kamali is going to stay?
Yeah, I definitely think. I think right now, if I was going to predict our starting lineup, I would put Sega and Kamali Green as our starting center back lineup. I was going back to our beginning games at the beginning of the year because I was like, I couldn't remember who our other center back was, and I realized it was between Shandon Wright and Kamali Green that were pairing up with Vinberg. Eventually, Green kind of became the front runner. I think he's kind of the youthful guy to match up with the older, Sega. I think that's a good matchup. And then again, he's kind of the guy that you can have be the 90-minute guy while Sega, works 90 minutes and then gets rotated out with whoever may possibly replace him. But yes, I think Green stays for at least another year.
You agree, Shawn?
Yeah, I do. I think the co-rookie of the year for the inaugural Hart season is not going anywhere. I think he is going to come.
We're going to give you a rookie of the year. Get out of here.
No, I think he's going to come back.
Though.
I think he's going to come back. I think he's going to come back for year number 2, and he's going to continue his education behind Sega Coulibaly, or beside, not behind, but beside Sega Coulibaly. And I think after we get by year 2, we'll see. He's probably going to be a pretty damn good center back after year 2. So maybe we can bait him into the hey, promotion relegation. We're going to start moving up. Stay with us. Maybe we can get him to stay with us, right? And those will be conversations in the next couple of years that we can start having with people as Pro Rel becomes a real thing in the following season.
Yeah,
that's a really good point, Shawn. I meant to bring that up before we started actually going into players, so I apologize, but maybe this is a good time before we get any further. We can continue this conversation. At what point does Pro Rel start factoring into these players' decisions? Because it feels a little early right now. We are not going to see it till 2027, 2028, I believe. Or am I a season ahead there? Is it going to be 2028, 29? I think it's 27, 28.
28, yeah.
27, 28 is the currently advertised year for Pro Rel.
Yeah, so that's next season. That's 2 seasons from now. So it's certainly going to be in people's minds. In fact, this might be the only arguable transfer or post-season period that it's less of a factor for players.
Yeah.
So, we'll have to keep that in mind.
It's a tough conversation to try to have with someone when you're saying, hey, in another couple of years, we're going to have Pro Rel. Well, we just got done talking about almost everyone's on a 1-year contract, right? And they're like looking to move forward with that short window they have, right? So, Chaz?
I was going to say, though, also, beginning of this year, too, I'm going back to when we did that ranking. One thing that factored into where we put some of the teams we put on that ranking when we said who would finish where was Portland, we still are the second lowest, at least according to Transfer Market, the second lowest market value. So I don't know how accurate that is, but if we do like those players, we probably have a little bit more room to, pay players. Again, since it was the first year, we probably didn't really know. We were probably just like, hey, we're going to give you something. You see how you like it.
Mm-hmm.
This is basically a litmus test if this team works or not. But now that we know that things working, our budget has probably gone to be able to go up a lot more. So we can probably offer players a lot more because I think, at least the Transfer Market, we are half the budget of Westchester and Charlotte Independence.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte Independence. So we do have a big
Yep.
gap between, last and first in terms of market value.
Once again, just amazing how well we performed. The coaching structure and just everything is good. So much good signs for the future. You got to be wary of a player that was paying attention to us this season. Though they could come in here and be like, "Okay, you sold how many $1 million worth of jerseys?" And I saw Gabe said he doesn't want to take a profit. He wants to put it all back into player wages, etc. So you are going to pay me how much?
Yeah. And,
I have no idea what.
And if I'm the club and I'm like, hey, that's a great question, but if you haven't noticed, we have a track going around our field, and we have a lot of upgrades we need to make, whether it be at Fitzpatrick or elsewhere. So guess where all that money's going?
I'd love to be a fly on the wall for all these conversations that are happening right now, and it'd be so cool. But I'm here with you guys, and I enjoy that just as much. Let's move on. Shandon Wright. Chaz. We didn't see a ton of Shandon. We heard a lot of great things about him in the locker room, about another one of those guys who we heard was a really great leader. People really enjoy Shandon. He certainly has had some good performances for us coming on, but you think we've seen the last of him in green hoops?
I hope not. I hope he is. I mean, I'm going to probably say if someone's going to ask me, is he going to stay? I would say no. He probably wants to go somewhere where he will start. However, he did start in the beginning. And with, again, Sega, I don't see Sega being a 90-minute center back.
No.
I could totally see Wright kind of being that, hey, I'm going to finish the game. Or we do he starts for 60 minutes and Sega comes on. I like him. I think he's fast. I've kind of liked how he plays. I know we just haven't seen a lot of him, but I do hope he does play. And I've heard the great things about him. And he's not, again, too old, too young. He's pretty middle-aged. But I hope he is the guy that returns if someone came down to it. I would hope he. But I'm going to say he's probably not. It wouldn't surprise me.
He's 25.
Yeah, I would say. Unfortunately, he probably will go. But I would totally like to have him back.
What do you think, Shawn?
I think I had a lot of thought on Shandon Wright, and a lot to what kind of Chaz has already referred to, and he is a great locker room guy, and he's 25, still pretty young for a center back. He's only like a year older than Kamali, maybe 2 years possibly. So he's really early in his career right now, and he's certainly shown that he's, one, a good locker room guy. Two, he's kind of can be used in a couple of different spots. We saw him as playing as right back. We saw him play in two different sides of center back roles, and he's still providing a pretty good passage of play for when he's in there. He's still showing signs of learning, but he's still a young center back. I think he's got those things going for him. And I think Bobby is very, very tempted in bringing him back. Now we're probably going to run with 3, maybe possibly 4 center backs this year. So you got to ask yourself, with Shawn Vinberg possibly gone, we got Kamali Green and Sega Coulibaly. Are you bringing back Shandon Wright and only getting one more center back to complete out your room? That's the question you're asking yourself. I say yes. I say let's bring back Shandon Wright, and let's look for one more center back out on the market.
Interesting to note, if we remember in July, Camacho was the only player we let go mid-season. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, it's the only
Um,
one.
so technically we have lost a center back already. I don't know what to say about Shandon because I feel like we're really outside the inner circle when it comes to him, and we've heard he's a great guy in the locker room. For that reason alone, I'd say keep him. I think that's hugely important, especially in a team like Hearts. But I don't think I'm going to put him on that we don't see him
We
next
don't see
season.
him.
So,
Okay.
yep. So you said the same. Did we all say the same that we expect him to go?
No,
No, Sean, you expect him to stay.
I
Okay.
was the
I
only
would hope
one.
he would. I would hope. I
Yeah.
think in a couple of years, if him and Kamali Green could stay together, they would be a great combo in 2 or 3
Right.
years.
So no, I want him to stay, but I just expect I think he's going to go. So we're 2 versus 1, so that means he stays. So I'm only going to write down names to go over at the end of guys that we're all kind of in agreement are
Yeah.
leaving. So I'm going to save this one. You know who I'm talking about. But let's talk about Colby Quinones. I mean, he's only 22. Don't know if he's turned 23 at this point. So he's younger than everybody we've talked about so far, actually, and we haven't seen as much of him. So I think Colby is playing somewhere else next year. What do you think, Shawn?
Yeah, I tend to agree. Kind of unfair. He was dealing with some injuries and stuff this year, so he's kind of been in and out of the lineup all year long. So it's kind of unfortunate. But I think Bobby is going to probably have some choices to make at outside back, and um, I I think he's going to have one of them return, and I think he's going to have to probably go out on the market after probably a couple of them. I think Colby will probably be playing elsewhere next year.
Chaz?
Yeah, I think just where he probably is at in the stage, I think we might, depending on how if Nathan stays, I probably think he's probably out in the shopping block where it's like, hey, maybe I just could see him going somewhere else. I just don't know if he really fits the scheme. I wasn't too impressed. Again, I wasn't really paying much attention when he was playing, but I never really was like, man, like I don't know. Yeah, he's just one of the guys that I could probably see he's probably on the move. Again, in his career, I think he'll be great, but I just don't know if he fully fits the scheme. I think there's just better players ahead of him.
Okay. Mo Muhammad. I think based on how Bobby used him, I think he stays, but I think there's an argument there. I think like if you guys both said no, I don't think he'll be with us next season. I wouldn't, I'd probably could be turned to that side of the argument. But I think Mo has a lot of development left, and I think just that I don't know. I just have a hunch that Bobby wants to be part of that development. So I'm going to say that Mo Muhammad stays. What do you think, Chaz?
I think he stays. I think if Titus stays, Mo stays. I believe was it him or was he with Cash? I thought he has some connection between one of those.
You got it. It's with Titus.
It was Titus. Okay, I think if Titus stays, Mo stays. I think he fit really well as the wingback. Very young. I think he would be a great person to keep for 2 or 3 years. Absolutely, I would definitely pay him. He puts a little weight on. He's fast. He has made a lot of great tackles in critical areas without messing up. I think I love him. I hope he stays. I think he should.
Shawn?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we saw Mo in a lot of different roles in terms of how they were trying to use him as an outside back. I'm told he's kind of got a couple good feet, so he can kind of play left side, right side. Didn't really see him on the left side because we didn't need to see him on the left side. We had an Iron Man over there playing left back for us this year, so we didn't need Mo to get over on that side. But yeah, I think he played a lot of good play this year in the outside back role for us, and um, I think he had some learning curves here and there as rookies are going to have. But I think there's enough good things coming out of that position when Mo's there. that Bobby would probably be interested in, and probably spending a little bit more time on Mo Mohammed.
Okay. I was debating whether to talk about Jaden Jones-Riley first or Nathan Messer, but let's real quick touch upon Jaden. One of the players I was most excited to watch this season after seeing them in the friendly in Hartford. I was like, this guy is a true wingback. He looked dirty. He looked awesome. And Nathan Messer was not what I expected, but it seemed like Messer became that wingback that just absolutely crushed it for us this season. So, but Jaden, I expect him to stay, and I want to see him this season. So I'm very excited about that. He's actually one of my top players to watch based on the guys I expect to come back. So, you agree, Shawn?
Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. And it was an absolute shame to see him go down with a knee injury so early on in the season. I think it was some mid-April or something like that he went down. There was rumors of
Right in front of us up in Lewiston.
Yeah,
Yep.
There was rumors of, well, maybe he can come back for the play. I'm like, no, like he's a young player. Let heal up right, do it the right way, and come back in year number 2 and then show everyone what you're all about. I think he will do so, and I think he'll be wearing Hearts colors. Chaz?
Yeah, I think at least, I mean, he was one of the first guys I met and personally talked about, and I loved his attitude. I think he was kind of one of the first guys I was like, wow, this guy's like cocky, but in a good way, and
Right.
I loved it. I hope he does stay. I think he's going to be kind of like we were kind of like the rehab for Sega, and I think Jaden Jones-Riley will be kind of our next project, and he will fill a role in the wing, and I think he'll be really good. I'd be kind of sad to see him leave for both us and him.
Yeah.
That chant too was fire from the beginning. Oh, Jaden Jones-Riley. I was like, we have to retire. Can't sing that all season.
Actually,
damn ACL.
And he was at a lot of the events outside too. He never really left the team as well. So I know your song. Yeah, he did have a great song too. So I'm excited to see hopefully that. But I did notice that even after he got hurt, he never really left the program. He was still out there doing the program, which I know is
right.
Very important to Bobby and the organization. It's not like he got hurt and decided, I'm just gonna lock myself in my room for the next 5 to 8 months.
Yeah. Super excited to see him next year. I hope we're right. I hope he lights it up for the Hearts. Let's talk about Nathan Messer. This is a big one, I think.
Yeah.
Call ends in 15 minutes, so we're going to go to a commercial break in 15 minutes. We'll see who that commercial is. Brought to you by Nathan Messer's highlight reel, because he released a highlight reel as well on social media. He did not have On the Road Again playing like Mr. Vinberg did, but I don't know if it means anything. I don't know if here's the thing. I think Nathan Messer really enjoyed his time here. He's my player of the season. He covered the most ground, created the most chances for a defender, blah, 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 blah. He just knocked it out of the park for us. I wouldn't be surprised if other people want to have a player like that. And, as much as he probably loves his time in Portland, he's young. He could have we don't know what kind of a career he could have. He came down from Rhode Island, as far as coming down from the championship to USL 1 to play with us. I hope he doesn't go back there. I don't know. I just feel like you could go somewhere better, because they're like probably the team I like the least, actually, from who we played this season, Rhode Island. But I just want the best for him, and if he decides that that's with the Hearts again for another season, I would absolutely love it. I'm not going to burn my shirt or anything with Nathan Messer on it. I'm going to be a fan of Nathan Messer for the rest of his career.
Yep.
And I do want the best for him, but I selfishly want it to be with the Hearts and want him to take us, stay with it through promotion. And in 20, I want him to be the same Nathan Messer for the next 4 years and take us all the way to the USL Premier Division. Saying all of that, I'm going to shut up and actually say that he goes.
Yeah.
So my first heartbreak as a Hearts fan is going to be watching Nathan Messer try to achieve some things elsewhere. I'm going to say he goes, and it's very sadly for me. What do you think, Shawn?
Yeah, this is, one of those players that, it's tough for us supporters to let go. right? It is. It's tough, but we have to remind ourselves that this is a business, and we want the best for our players, even if that means they have to unfortunately leave us temporarily. I say temporarily because, again, pro rel, we start moving up. You never know. We may see Nathan Messer again wearing navy and green hoops for the Hearts of Pine. So keep that in
Oh, I
mind
hope so.
as we move forward. It may not be a goodbye. It may be a we'll see you later. And it could be just another couple years.
I like that.
And we may see Nathan again. But I do think he gets picked up by a championship side. I think he signs a contract with a championship side, and yeah, we'll probably see him again in a couple of years, whether we're actually playing against him or he's coming back to Portland. Chaz?
Yeah, we were definitely blessed to have him come down and pretty much put a clinic on how to run the left side. Yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if he stayed. He definitely belongs. He was one of the guys that was like, you can obviously tell this guy is, he is a complete package. He doesn't need to be in League One anymore. If he wants to stay, great. But I would be a little upset if he did stay. Like I would hope if he did get an offer that he definitely needs to go up to a higher league. Whether that's in the USL Championship, I wouldn't be shocked if he goes back overseas. Yeah,
Really?
I mean, yeah, I could see him in like a lower division. Why not? Soccer makes you get to travel, get to do it. If you get the chance, go do it.
So there is a precedence for that, Chaz, and you bring up an excellent point that we haven't talked about yet, right? Is Tormenta, South Georgia Tormenta, actually sold a player over to League One side over in England in the EFL, and I think they sold him for like a 6-digit number. Yeah,
It was the biggest
yeah.
USL one sale, right?
Yeah, they said it was a record, and that's all they would say. They wouldn't give a number,
Yeah.
right? So it's kind of like, all right, well, what was the record? Again, we're trying to kind of piece it all together, and at the end of the day, we all come up with, I don't know, it's a 6-figure number. That's all I know. I don't know.
But we're kind of at a weird point because like, would it be for us to profit? Would it have to be like a sign and trade? Like we would have to sign him, and then you pay us to take over that contract. I don't really know how that.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is, again, going back on an assumption that he's on a 1-year contract. Well, that contract runs out at the end of November, right? So if you sell him before the end of November, then yeah, sure. The Hearts get some money for that, sure. But if not, and he's out on the free, then it is what it is at that point. So if they do their research and they find out on as a 1-year contract and all that sort of stuff, they'd be like, yeah, December 2nd, give me a call, right? So.
I mean, he reminds me of last year's team from Hailstorm, Ethan Horde. Really good defender. Ended up going up, I think, to like Slovenia or one of those like Eastern Europeans. I would see him filling that shoes, either going up to the USL Championship or heading over to some, of course not top flight, but lower division European league.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
All right, you heard it here first, folks. Nathan Messer's playing for Man City next season. I wish him well.
Man City FC. Not
enjoy the
Batman
biscuits. enjoy the spotted dick. Enjoy all the lovely things in England. All right. Oh, that hurts, but it is what it is. Let's move on. I believe we've got out actually all of our defenders, so we can move on to the midfield, which is the majority of our players. Remember preseason, it was like, let's sign another midfielder. But
hey, Charles, I think this is a good time for that commercial break.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll see you in a minute. All right, let's talk about midfielders. We're going to start with Patty Langlois. He's actually one of the first players we met down at Bunker. Met him in person. Another incredible human being. I mean, all these guys are. Didn't see as much of him as I expected personally this season. I don't think Patty's going to be a Hearts player next season. Chaz, you in agreement?
Yeah. I mean, with Mikey coming back, I mean, I kind of hope he does because he could probably lead to picking up other players. Like, I know he knows a lot of other players, so that could like maybe link a lot of players. But I'm gonna probably say no. If you were going to ask me yes or no, I'm going to say no.
Yep, I
He's not
am.
going to be returning.
It's exactly what I asked you. So thank
no.
you for answering. Shawn, what do you think about our man from down under? I mean, I'd love to keep him.
Yeah, no, I'd like to keep him too, but I'm going to try to keep it quick. I think that new team down there in Texas by Zayed, his old Colorado coach, Northern Colorado coach, Hailstorm. Eamon was talking on a podcast, USL show, I believe it was, and he keeps in touch with his players, and Patty Langlois is certainly one of those players that he kept in contact with, and was saying really good things about Bobby Murphy's Hearts of Pine up here, and what they were doing, and he was definitely singing praises for the Hearts up here, and saying, watch out for these guys. They're going to have some. They got something special up there, and you better be watching out for these guys. And I think that player and Patty Langlois is attached to that coach, in my opinion, and I think he is going to be a centerpiece for that midfield down there in Texas. And I think Patty Langlois is headed down to warmer climates down in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yeah.
There, a lot of new teams coming in next season, so that makes movement, I think, all the more possible, even though we know it's going to happen anyway. Patty, we will miss you if that's the case. You mentioned it, Chaz, Mikey Lopez. I expect him to stay. At this point, I think it wouldn't be unlikely to see him become a part of like a coaching staff eventually. We know his relationship to Bobby Murphy goes back to like the beginning of his career. We know he's in love with the club. His end of year statement talking about how it kind of was his favorite season in memory, I believe, and that it brought back his love for the game. All of that and his performances and being our captain, it all makes me think that he's around for a little while, that we're going to see more of him. Do you agree, Chaz?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it all. I think he stays. I think he'll be our probably CDM going into next year. He was fan favorite when won an award, supporters award. I think he stays. I would be genuinely shocked if he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's here till the boots come off, guys. He'll retire a Hearts player.
I think so. I think so.
Whether it's only one more year or maybe it's 2 more years, I'm not really sure. We'll see. I think he's that 34 range, 33 range, somewhere in that neighborhood for a midfielder. So he doesn't have a lot more years left. But
Right.
I think he's here until the boots come off.
Coach Lopez, though, right? At the Hearts of Pine Academy for sure.
Yeah, he's made no bones about it. He wants to go into coaching after playing. So I would think that the Hearts would, if we got a spot open for him, they'd be wanting to try to keep him on board.
All right, let's move on to Mickey Riley. Actually, one of the players we got to interview earlier in the season at the Dirigo Union. Awesome guy, super young. Loved seeing him and his whole musical abilities as well. I loved seeing his goal against Halifax, was it? Where he rifled it into the far corner on the ground. And I liked his energy. I thought he was a pressing machine. Thought at times he looked a little lost positionally. Think he could grow into a great player. I loved his story. I like, that he came from a D3 club with a good program. I think that's awesome that we could have really, really strong D3 players. For all those reasons, he's 23 years old. I'm not against keeping Mickey at all. But I don't see him here next year. I don't think so. I think he's going to play for a while. I think he's got a lot of opportunities ahead of him, but I don't think he's going to be with us next season. What do you think, Chaz?
Yeah, I would prefer if he did stay. I think he would become a good, I think he fits the attacking. I think he fits the scheme well. But yeah, I think he just maybe is, he's probably definitely a project. However, yeah, I did see a podcast that he did with one of his buddies back home, and I could see him being maybe a little homesick.
You're not the first person who said that. I can't remember who else it was, but they brought that up as well.
Yeah, so I could see him. I could see him end up being at like Forward Madison. However, I don't know. I like him. I think he fits like with his music stuff. There's a great music scene in Portland. I think he could be a great great guy. I've seen him post with Ollie, so I know if Ollie's here, he is making friends. So I would
he's
really like him to be a
Ollie's
project
buddy.
player. I would love him to be he's here for 2-3 years, but I think based off that, I think he's probably maybe just like, I wouldn't be shocked if he goes back to the Midwest. I could see him at a Fort Wayne or Ford Madison come next year.
Yeah, so I certainly understand what you guys are saying. I'm going to say he does come back. I'm going to say
Okay.
that a little bit more USL League One underneath the Hearts of Pine and head coach Bobby Murphy in this midfield, and with some of the releases in the midfield, maybe getting a little bit more of a starting role in this midfield here for the Hearts of Pine. Not so much a stalwart in terms of starting every single match, but I guess probably what I meant to say is a little bit more steady and coming off the bench and rotating into the side. So I know I did say starting role, but I guess a little bit more of making the squad on a continuous basis and coming in at that 60-minute, 70-minute mark and coming into the midfield and being a sub that comes in every single game.
Consistent sub.
A consistent sub.
I could totally see that. All right. Well, then Mickey does not make the list of 3-0. Yeah. No, sorry. Go ahead, Chaz.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I still don't think he will, but I think his is going to be one of the contracts where it comes down to him. I don't think it's like a Bobby's going to tell him you're not coming back. It's going to be a Mickey saying, I don't know if I want to come back.
Right.
I think that's one of the few where it's like it's up to the player.
I love his energy levels. I think there's a player there that could be nasty,
Oh yeah,
for
absolutely.
Sure. So I'm totally, I'm all for it if we decide we want in on that project. So, all right. Mickey's partner in crime, you mentioned it, Ollie Wright, the supporters player of the year, arguably the most involved player with the community. Just seemed to absolutely soak in being a Hearts player, reach out to different supporters. He was on our podcast. We got him in trouble because it was like the first podcast and we were all figuring out how to do that. So you're welcome, club, for helping you figure out how not to do it with Ollie Wright and the Dirigo Union. But man, what a player, what a fabulous human being. I love messaging Ollie after games because within like 5 seconds he responds and he's just the nicest human being ever. So I think he really, really wants to stay at the Hearts. I think he really enjoys scoring goals and being the man and playing golf and getting that golf swing into those as many goal celebrations as possible for a million reasons. I think Ollie Wright stays. What do you think, Shawn?
Yeah, I don't think Ollie's going anywhere. I think Ollie is. We'll see him in year number 2, and he may have to have a new partner in crime down that left-hand side. That Bobby's going to have to go out and find him. But that's what head coach Bobby Murphy. That's part of his job is to go out and find those players and bring them into the Hearts. So he's going to have to go out and find himself another Robin to his Batman, if you will, down that left-hand side and try to recreate what the magic that Nathan Messer and Ollie Wright did down that left-hand side this year for the Hearts of Pine. And I think Ollie will certainly be back, and I don't think he's looking to go anywhere anytime soon. And he wants to make as many magical memories at Fitzy as he can.
Yeah. Chaz.
Yeah, I think him and Mikey are kind of going to be kind of like the franchise guys. I don't think he's going anywhere soon. I could see him pretty much finishing his career out in Portland.
That is such a cool thing that we all feel that way. We're lucky. Yeah. I think he got more consistent too. That was only the thing at the beginning. He had it all from day one, except that consistency really came into play. He started scoring and he never stopped. And I said it in the in our last post-match pulse, but more than any other player, even though there were a number of really good performances, I feel like he was the one trying to just drag us over the line to make the final. And I hope I get to watch Ollie for a long time because he's a joy to watch and he brings that spark and that anything can happen quality. And I think that we can beat anybody on our day. That quality as well as a lot of that this season was down to Ollie. So long may it continue. Let's talk about Natty James. And I'm not going to give my prediction right away because I've been doing that for the sake of not getting into an annoying pattern. Shawn, start us off with Natty.
Yeah, so Natty James this year, unfortunately, we didn't really get to see a lot of him this year due to his national team and the polls of that national team, bringing him back and forth as they were trying to qualify for the World Cup. So update as far as I'm concerned, and the information I'm getting, I don't believe Trinidad and Tobago has qualified. I think they're out of it at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means, unfortunately for Natty and his national team, no World Cup next year, which is bad in that sense of things. But it's good for the Hearts if Natty James wants to really dump in a lot of time next year into his club team, and I believe that to be the case. And I believe it will be with the Hearts. I think we saw a lot of him playing on the right wing towards the end of the season and into the playoffs with Masashi Wada. And I think Bobby really liked the looks of that. And I think we're going to see a little bit of that next year. So Natty James, I think, back with the Hearts in year 2.
Chaz?
This is one I don't have a pulse on. I'd probably say no. Probably just like short term. This is kind of my uneducated guess. I could see him being wanted to be closer, like maybe in a warmer climate. But I personally, I would hope he would stay. I think he's a great outside of the box attacking option that we have. He's kind of one of the only dudes that will just shoot outside of the box and actually keep it on frame. I do hope he does stay because I think that affects MPA as well as my 2 other predictions that might be possible targets to look at. But so I hope he does. But if someone was if you're asking me yes or no, I would say no.
Mm. It's interesting, Natty. I mean, obviously, international player, and sky's the limit. I think for him, he shows glimpses of incredible ability. And I think I'm going to agree with Chaz. I don't think we're going to see him again. I'd like to see him. I think there's all the obviously he's got tremendous talent, and to have an international player like that be on your team in USL 1 that's the type of player you want, as we want to move up, and so I just don't feel like it's going to happen. But I hope he stays as well. But I don't know why. I just feel like so that's a 2-1.
I could see it. I mean, if hopefully Shawn's right, maybe he needs he probably need, now that he's not in the World Cup, maybe what convinces him is like, hey, how about you have one hell of a good season with the Hearts? You have an all right season. You go for 10, 12, 14 goals. That pretty much unlocks the key to, I'm assuming Bob will like, go wherever you want. You give me a 14 goal, 15 goal season, I'll get you wherever you want to go. So maybe that's how you convince him is like, you give me one good year. And yeah, we know you're the stuff. We know he's good. No one's saying he's not good. It's just, what does he want?
No, I'm just 50-50 on whether we see him again. I wouldn't be surprised either way. Like, he's here, like, hell yeah. And if he leaves, I'd definitely be down about it, but I don't expect him to stay. I feel like maybe there might be another opportunity for him somewhere and that he's on that path. But we could be wrong. Let's talk about, this is interesting, Michel Poon-Angeron. I think he stays. I think some people have called him the heart of the team. I know a lot of people on this podcast picked him as player of the season. And I had a lot of Michel stats thrown at my face after I made statements that were gut statements. So keep them coming. But I'm happy to say that I think he stays, and I think he'll take it up another gear too. I think he has another gear to go to. So yeah, Shawn, you agree Michel stays?
Yeah, Michel Poon-Angeron will continue to be our number 8 in our midfield with Mikey Lopez anchoring down our CDM, and I don't see anything changing for next year. I think MPA had a pretty good season for us, and like you mentioned earlier, a lot of people player of the year voting for him, right? Yeah. So I think he's definitely going to be back again next year. That's my opinion.
I would say if Natty stays, he's 100% staying. Actually, I'm just going to break the rules. If we're going to do our wild guesses of who we think comes in, I think if we get the Powder Brothers from Westchester, we're going to have 4 Trinidad Tobago players, midfielder and defender. That would be a lot of linkage. And I think that would make
a lot of linkage.
A lot of TNT linkage. That would be fun. But I hope he stays. I'm personally going to say no. But
really?
I would say, yeah. I think I just see them not being main people. It's not that I think they love parts. I just, again, you're from the Caribbean. Like, this is like the most opposite thing you could go to the Caribbean.
The water's still blue. It's not as blue. It's not
Yeah,
as
frozen
turquoise.
blue.
It's frozen blue. Certain shallows it can be bluer.
Yeah.
There are days. Hey, come up to the mid coast, man. There are days where my little beach, Pembroke Beach, looks incredibly almost like the Caribbean. But I'll tell you what, you put your testicles in that water and you know right away it's not the Caribbean. So
Yeah. I mean, hey, yeah. If we get the annual trip down to the Caribbean, and like I said, we get the Powder Brothers, I would say yes. But if I was, again, you're asking me yes or no, I'm going to say no.
Yep. Okay, you're wrong. He stays. Let's move on to this one's really fun. Masashi Wada. What an interesting player to end up with. Not a lot of Japanese players in USL 1. I think he stays. I think he had a great time, but I'm totally torn because let's see, how old's Masashi?
28, I think.
Okay, so he's a little bit older. I think that helps him stay. I think at that point in your career, you're looking for. I think he found something here he didn't expect, and I don't think going back to Japan. I'm totally talking out of my butt here, but like I just don't see that in the cards, and I think he's something special, and he's going to want to have at least another year at it. Bobby loves him. Every time on Coach's Corner, it was like, what can we do more of? And it was like, give Masashi the ball and be happy. That was like his main response, right? So I think he stays. Chaz, you go first this time. Does Masashi Wada stay or go?
I don't think he leaves. I think he is. From what it seems like he's happy. It seems like a lot of his family comes and has a great time. I
That's
think
true.
he enjoys kind of like the lifestyle of Maine, just from unexperienced eye. I do hope we make him more of like an attacking piece. I liked him more as a CAM, especially with
yes.
MPA.
Good call.
At
Totally.
CAM and MPA at CDM. I think it's a very dangerous combination. I don't remember who I was talking to, but I remember there was multiple away teams that said like they would see Wada and they're like, this guy does not belong here. Which
that
good
is
for
true.
us. I honestly think he does stay. I think we utilize him better as an attacking piece, but it would not surprise me if he is, like we said with Nathan, where we could make money off him. I would hate to see it happen, but my guess was Wada would be the person that a team comes from a higher league midseason is like, hey, we need that guy. We will give you whatever you want. And unfortunately, that would be my guess. That was my guy.
He's definitely a championship level player.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like we have quite a few championship level players. I would argue that we're probably a championship level team, with just as we get our feet on the ground more often or a longer time to play. But no, that's a good call. Like that could, yeah. I mean, you're making me feel less confident now because he could very well play.
I think he comes back. I think like if we were going to sign, he does come back, but that would be the player where a fringe team shows up and says, "Hey, we need a CAM. We'll give you."
Yeah,
we'll give you.
No, he could fill the role for quite a few clubs. So, what do you think, Shawn?
Yeah, I think he comes back. I think he's had his fill up and down the J League over there in Japan, and he wanted to come over and try out the USA, and I think he has really enjoyed his time here in Portland. And at 28 years old, I think he just wants to play free and fun type of soccer, and enjoy his city that he's in. And I think he's really taken to Portland, and I think he's taken to Coach Bobby Murphy and this team, and I think he'll be back for year number 2, wearing number 77.
Yeah, I hope he talks a lot more shit next year. I can't wait. I can't wait for it. I can't wait for his first hot mic. I can't wait for his first F-bomb. I'm too excited for that.
He's definitely one of my favorites. There were a few players that I had for player of the season, and he was right up there. Definitely one of my favorite players to watch. I'd love to watch his first touch. I thought his first touch was immense. Only maybe Ollie was giving him for a run towards the end of the season. When Ollie's touches on, it's pretty crazy. Masashi's as well. I love watching him link play. I love watching him score goals. He was our second highest goal scorer. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was tied there.
Yeah.
Right up until I think he had 8 goals and Ollie ended up with 9. You'd have to fact check me on that, but I think I'm close.
Yeah.
I hope he comes back. Really, really hope he comes back. Let's talk about JT Kamara. So, JT Chaz, you start about JT. No piggybacking off of us this time.
It's a hard one. From secondhand experience, I thought from secondhand word of mouth, I thought that I would say no, but I want him to stay.
Word on the street is he's still hugging Bobby Murphy right now.
I know, that's what I was saying. I made that joke.
Consider that.
And I'm gonna say yes. Actually, no, I'm gonna say no. My gut says no, but I want yes, because he is a perfect two-punch combo. I mean, being a right back or a center back and having to get beat up by Titus or a big body striker, and then you have that come on, it's just got to be one of the most, like, you just got to take that. You're like, how do I go from getting my butt kicked all day to then getting 30 minutes of this? I would say no. That's what my gut says, but I would love to have him back. I would be very, very sad. The streets will not forget JT, and we will give him a chance. We'll do whatever. Please stay, but my gut says no.
Yeah. So with JT, I think I think he does come back, and I think with Natty James playing right wing, and then you bring in JT Kamara, what an option to have on the right wing, and you got Masashi Wada pulling the strings in the middle of them. Yeah, I'll take a whole lot of that, please. JT Kamara comes back for year number 2, and the hugs continue with Coach Bobby Murphy. Charles?
Yeah, I think he comes back. I strongly believe he was the best sub. The best impact sub in the league. And I don't think he has to stay there. I think he could be turned into a starter. He had absolute glimpses. He had options on what to do with the ball. We knew that we had a interview with Bobby, probably was Coach's Corner as well, talking about how they were starting to see JT do things in games that he was doing in practice, like passing the ball. JT gets into really dangerous situations, and he's one of the few players that would dribble at defenses, and that opens up all kinds of opportunities. And we've really needed that to go at players to pull defenders out of position. And JT provided that. So I would like to see him stay. I think he does stay based on, the hugs, and I think he's got a lot. He's a player you want to come back to, because I think he has a lot of room for improvement, and he could be. Yeah. He already is unbelievable in certain areas of his game, but he could be even more so. So yeah, I think he stays.
How old?
Moving on, JT is.
Let me check here.
He's pretty young.
He is
23. JT's 23.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Pretty young.
Yep. And an interesting player at that height as well, because he is small. So, but it obviously works out in his favor, right? Like, it's just cool. It's cool watching him line up against guys like, twice his size. It's a riot, because the ball stuck to him and he could just go between legs almost. Love it. So, yeah, JT, come back, please. Khalid Hersey, our mainer in the team. Oh, didn't see much of him this season. We heard he was doing well, and making improvements that he needed to make. Bobby said repeatedly, he was signed because he was good enough. Everybody was left in awe of him at tryouts. So, do you guys think we see more of Khalid? We saw him at Halifax, and I believe maybe one other game where he came on in the final 10 minutes and held his own each time. It's not like he made some terrible mistake or anything. Thank goodness. But we really don't know much. So I personally think he stays. I'm not sure what role. I think it's a development role, and that Bobby, is invested and meant everything that he said about Khalid. So, but I obviously just don't know. But I'm gonna guess that he stays. What do you think, Shawn?
Yeah, I mean, you can't go by anything on the field, because he had very, very few minutes on the field this year. So if you were to solely go by that, you would probably have to say that he's going to leave, right? But it all depends on what the club initially did for a contract with Khalid, whether it was that 1 year or that 2 year contract that we were talking about. We don't know, but if, and it's a big if it was a 2 year contract and they pretty much wrote on, first year is going to be, getting your feet underneath you and all that sort of stuff. And we're going to try to get you as many minutes as you can, but ultimately that second year is what you'll be judged on. If that was the contract that the Hearts of Pine signed with Khalid Hersey, then I think you are going to see him back in year 2, and this is going to be his prove it season. So I'm going to say he returns on my wild assumption.
Chaz.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know where he would go. There's not really much. He can't go back to semi-pro. So he has to stay. I think he does stay. I think, again, he's kind of the beacon for our academy. I mean, hopefully, in my selfish mind, is I'm hoping that they're molding him into a vertical midfielder, because we don't really have a true aerial threat, like a consistent aerial threat. So, and he's big. He's going to get bigger. Yeah. I hope he stays. I hope it is like a multi-year contract, and I hope he molds into a scheme. And but I would say yes. I don't know where he would go outside of it, unless he just falls out of love with soccer, which I find hard to believe.
I don't feel like doing this anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's kind of where you're at. Like, maybe this just isn't for me, but I don't think that's what happens. I would say no. I would say yes. He comes back, and hopefully we do see him kind of get molded into a role.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. I may have to leave you boys to discuss our 6 remaining players here that are all forwards. So, best, Shawn, if I just pause my video, and that way it doesn't screw everything up for you guys. So I apologize, but I'm glad we took the time. We did move actually pretty quickly, and it still got to the point where I have to end early. But it'd only be about 15 minutes, so I'll come back, and if you guys are still on, I'll hop back on. But otherwise, feel free to finish it up. Do you have those players in front of you? Shawn,
I do.
You want me to give them to you real quick? Okay, you got
it. I've got them.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, you guys. And
thanks, Charles.
Catch you soon.
Charles.
All right. So we'll finish off with the midfielders. So just kind of going down through, we hit up most of them, but kind of landing on Evan Southern right now, Chaz, and a player that got brought in, and we saw him in a substitute role here at the beginning of the season, and unfortunately got injured, and a large space in between the middle of the season was him out there with his injury, and what are we thinking about the return of Evan Southern?
This is a hard one. I think with Jaden Jones-Riley coming back, I would think Evan Southern would come back, but I think this comes down to Evan wanting more play time.
Yeah,
I think this is another one of those things where we'd probably say, yeah, you're going to come back, but you're probably going to be kind of, again, a backup role. And I think he's going to. I wouldn't be shocked if we see him on another USL 1 team, maybe down south. I could see him at like a Greenville, or a Southern team. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I think you're right, Chaz. I think when Evan, at the beginning of the year was trying to kind of work his way into the starting role, and he got injured and was out for quite some time, and months he was out for, and when he came back, trying to break back in again, it was always a struggle for minutes, and whether it was whenever he got on the field, the energy was very apparent that he had in his game. And when he was on the pitch, honestly, he was making things happen. But for whatever the case may be, he just couldn't quite get the minutes that he really wanted out of this Hearts of Pine team. And I think for that reason and that reason alone, I think he's looking to go elsewhere. And I think I think he is going to leave the Hearts next season, but we will certainly see him on a USL League One team next year. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I think he might just be a product of just doesn't. I don't know if he just fully fits the scheme, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with that. So the last midfielder that I have here on my list, number 22, Walter Varela. So with Walter, as previously mentioned, We have a couple of possibilities out there, right wing for next season with Natty James and JT Kamara, and if those two do both come back next year, I think there's not really any space left for Walter on the Hearts next year. If that does happen, Walter has been so great for us in the first part of the year and scoring our first goal and so many firsts with Walter and he's always been a hard worker in the middle of the pitch for us and getting the possession of the ball back in the Hearts' favor and finishing in and around the box and setting up and certainly appreciate everything Walter has done for the Hearts, but again, like we started this kind of grabbing at straws, trying to look into a crystal ball, a little unsure about Walter, but the way everything is currently painted in this podcast, I don't see any space left for Walter Varela and the Hearts of Pine.
Yeah. I think he was just I don't think he's coming back. I think this is kind of one of those ones where it's like, I think we need to figure out where our attack goes, depending on who stays and who goes. But I think he's kind of the one where it's like, I just don't think he was the right fit. Yeah, I mean, could he come back? Yeah, but I just don't see him being like he didn't ever. Yeah, I'm just gonna say no. I just don't have really much. Me personally, I just don't think he'll come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's all I've got for midfielders. Chaz, did we miss anybody in the transition between Charles and myself?
No, I was looking at the roster and they actually have both of those listed as forwards.
Yeah, so we kind of went with the Coach Bobby Murphy philosophy of your left winger and your right winger is actually midfielders because he likes to play them in towards the channel, right, in towards the middle of the park, and that 4-2-3-1, right? That's that line of three and that line of two is midfielders, right? So.
Okay.
Yep, traditionally, and you probably even hear us say that left winger, Ollie right. And wait a minute, you're calling them midfielders. That's why that's why we're calling them midfielders is because of the formation that Bobby likes to play them in, and he wants those wingers to push centrally. He actually got them labeled as midfielders, so that's how we grouped them in today's podcast.
Okay, that makes more sense. But yeah, okay.
All right, so we'll go down to the true forwards, basically your rotationals for that top spot up on top of that 4-2-3-1 that I just mentioned, and we start off with probably an easy one, maybe not, Azad Liadi.
I think this is a hard one. I think if Titus stays. I want to say yes. I'm going to say yes.
So let's keep in mind he's a lone player from Lexington. We do not own his contract. Okay, right. So he was loaned to us, and his loan has now ended. And now technically, as of December 1st, because that's where all contracts or loans go to, is the end of the year. So he's technically still loaned to us, and when December 1st hits, he will continue to be a Lexington player.
Right. I think at the he was one of the first rumors I heard in the very beginning of the year where they were trying to figure out I supposedly him and his agent were trying to figure out how to get him to the Hearts. I don't know if that's him just trying to get out of Lexington.
Okay.
Or he actually wants to be at the Hearts.
Okay.
I do think he is a good finisher. He's a different option than Titus.
Yep.
I want to say yes. I think I want to get another year out of him. If we're going to lose Walter, I would want to keep
Liadi.
I would want to keep Liadi. If we were going to lose Walter, I would want to keep Liadi as a different type of forward. He seemed to have a good toe pokes and items like that. I would hope he does stay. I'm going to say yes, he does come back.
Okay, so I am pretty much in the same wheelhouse as you. He made a comment I think I can't remember where I saw it. I'm going to assume it was on social media somewhere that I saw a comment that Azad made in terms of thanking the Hearts and the supporters and the city of Portland for his time here with us. And um, yeah, now that I'm talking it out loud, I do believe it was an Instagram post to the city and to the Hearts organization and to the supporters, and thanking us for our support and his time here in Portland. Kind of he basically mentioned that he kind of fell back in love with soccer again with his year here in Portland in the Hearts. And I think unless Lexington really wants to throw a bunch of money at Azad to stay with him, I think his head may have been turned this year with the Hearts. And I think once he goes back and buttons things up with Lexington and figures that piece out, don't be surprised if it was, Bobby said, hey, if you don't sign anything with Lexington, I better be your first call.
Yeah.
You got it, coach. And that may just happen. Give him a little bit of time, and maybe mid-December, early January, maybe we're seeing, hey, Azad Liadi back with the Hearts again. All right, so we'll move on to our. We've got four forwards to talk about here. We talked about Azad coming back. Jake Keegan, the veteran, was with us and started at the beginning of the year in the cup competitions and seeing a lot of him and early in the season and then kind of stepping back a little bit in terms of minutes. And Titus Washington and Azad Liadi was seeing quite a few minutes in front of him. In some of the coaches' corners. Coach Bobby Murphy, really high praise for Jake and a great locker room guy, and really, really helping teach young Titus Washington a lot of the tools of the trade, and was really pleased to have him on the Hearts. I don't think Jake returns. I think he may go out and try to get maybe another year with one of the starting clubs for next year. And maybe try to get one more full year out of his career. But I think also that big R word is creeping into his reality, and maybe he can stave it off for another year. But I think as time goes on, he's going to have to probably think a little bit more and more about that. I do not think he returns for the Hearts of Pine. I think he's going to be released as a free agent. And if he can find a place to continue his soccer career, I certainly wish him the best. He's a great person. I'd love to see that for him. I do not think it's with the Hearts next year. Chaz?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna start with my theory, which is he's again. I hope he stays. I do hope he stays because I think. Well, we'll never forget his U.S. Open kick from the half guard line.
Mm-hmm.
That game winner, or was that a tire? Was that the game winner?
That was to draw even.
That was draw even.
That was to push penalties.
Yeah. There was that. I also am hoping he stays because then we could feed in possibly like a Breck Evans. He was on the Hailstorm 2 years ago, and then he was on the Greenville this year, or I guess Hailstorm last year in Greenville this year. We would need a defender. I think that could be a way we could kind of breadcrumb him in, or just any of the defenders that he's worked with. I would hope that maybe that would be a way to do that. And he could get one more year. I don't think he is not a 90 minutes forward. Right. He would be purely a substitute cup kind of guy, which I think is great. I think you need a guy like that. I personally want to say yes. This is like one of the ones where I want to believe with my full heart. I want him to come back. I don't think he does, however. I think, yes, I agree with you. He does not come back, but I want him so bad. This would be a Christmas present. I'd be very happy if he came back because it leads to other players, and he is just a very unique player. And he already has made great history here. So But I'm going to say no. I agree with you. He doesn't come back, but I want him so bad. I really want him so bad to come back.
All right, Charles, care to weigh in? Welcome back.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
The player of conversation is Jake Keegan.
Jake doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Jake doesn't come back. Would love to have him back. I think you saw the brilliance of Jake in moments. Another leader, which we've said now this would be the third time that we've questioned whether we're inviting back a leader. As I say this, it's like, I don't know if it's a good idea to lose all your leaders, but we're not saying other people aren't. But you guys both said no.
Yeah.
Both said no. Like, yeah, I mean, another player that, like, if he comes back, be the first guy to be like, yes, Jake is back. So, but I don't think he comes back.
All right, so we'll go ahead and move on with the forwards. Next up is young Titus Washington, the other co-rookie of the Hearts of Pine this year with Kamali Green. Titus Washington, for me, I think really we saw basically a rookie understand his position as he progressed through the season. We kind of chuckle sometimes when we're going up against those big Rhode Island center backs and just working so hard for the team and beating his head against the wall trying to get through those 6'5", 6'6" center backs. And, in halftime kind of going, hey, you know what? And even Coach Bobby Murphy coming over going, hey, buddy, I think we're going to have to try a different tactic because strength on strength is not going to work with those guys. So let's start doing some diagonal runs and running at shoulders and try to turn those guys around a little bit and see how nimble they are on their feet. Typically those big guys, they don't like moving sideways and turning on the half turn all the time. They like exactly what you're doing, strength on strength. And as he progressed through the season, and chipping in 4 or 5 goals here for the Hearts this year, and certainly would be interested to see what year number 2 would look for young Titus Washington. And I think we'll see that, and Titus will return for the Hearts. Charles.
I remember it was hinted at earlier in the season that there were some calls coming in about Mr. Titus Washington. So don't know what that looks like for him. And he may, if it's a championship club, maybe he wants to move up a level. For the sake of his career, we won't know what exactly he's thinking. He's 25 years old. Is he 25? I thought he was a little bit younger than that. Okay. I'm going to say yes. I think we see more of Titus. Yeah, I do think we see him next season. So there you go. Easy, straight up answer.
Chad?
I am going to say out of the box, yes, because I think he knows that he does have the starting role, unless we bring in some, proven striker. I think there's no reason to mess up the chemistry he has with, if we bring all those guys back up midfield and all that we don't mess up that chemistry. I think he is trying to finish his master's degree as well, which I think that goes into next year. So why, have another move in your life? I think he does need another year. I think we did get calls about him. I think he needs another year. I just seeing how he was running, unless he was like fully ahead of guys, there's something missing that makes him that he needs a little bit more speed or another finish, like that initial touch to get him like really into a good shot range. I think he needs one more year in USL 1 before we give him up. I think him leaving, going to a higher league, would be kind of a blemish or a road bump and could really throw him off. I think if he stays for another year in a system he knows with good chemistry, he would definitely be another player we could sell in a year, because he is a 15 to 20 goal scorer now. And he has, he's now all built around. So I'm going to say yes, and I hope so. I hope he stays as well.
Can I elaborate real quick? I don't want to jump in front of you, Shawn, but Chaz, you're so right. I didn't bring that up. I think what he needs is confidence, which is a really cool thing to need with somebody like Bobby Murphy, who I think is a player's coach who can instill that confidence in him. And we heard as much from Bobby that he's really, the Titus can be really hard on himself, and want the process to be here, to be done, to have him just, I want to be the best I can be, and I want to be it now. That was just the vibe I was getting. So when Titus, I think when he's playing confidently, his hold up play gets better, which I think he is part of his game that we saw improve, and we did see what Shawn alluded to, which is like he could find different ways to play as opposed to just running behind or just trying to go up, repeatedly doing the same thing over and over again when it's not working. So I think there's a lot of room there for him to improve, and I do think if he can find confidence, he could be a hell of a player. I don't know if he's a 10 plus goal a season striker even next year for us, which I think we need. But could he be that? Yeah, I think he could be that, given the confidence and just improvements around the board, like you said. So really good points, Chaz.
All right, that brings us to our last player.
You didn't say, did you? Did you say, Shawn?
For Titus?
About Titus?
Yeah, he returns.
Okay.
Yeah, he returns. Yep. So our last player is Noah Kavifta. So we brought him on halfway through the year. Norwegian came on, and we needed another player when Azad was going through his injury. We had Titus, we had Jake. We kind of need a third guy through the rotation. Jake was kind of spending some time back in right wing for us a little bit. Sometimes he'd play the 10 for us a little bit when we saw Jake on the field. And, we needed someone to kind of, Titus got knocked up there a little bit, 3/4 of the way through the season or somewhere in that neighborhood. And we needed another guy. And Noah Kavifta came in for us. And we talked so much about him going through a lot of those early day Titus minutes, really kind of getting physical with center backs and backing into them and trying to muscle them around a little bit and trying to play the hold up play. And we never saw the goal scoring side of Noah Kavifta's game. And when he played here for the Hearts, and I think Noah is probably looking for a team next year. I don't think he comes back with the Hearts. But certainly appreciate the time that he did give us and helping us out up there at the number 9 spot. Charles?
Yeah, I think we needed somebody when he came in. I think we were really excited. A lot of people, especially like they wanted to see a big number 9 come in and get his head on the ball. Noah, to me, looked like he just never got up to speed, and that there's a lot of things that can go into that. He just looked a step off it, like, one step behind play most of the time. So I'm not sure if it was a lack of playing time and finding a lack of rhythm, which can be big for players, or if it just is what it is. But I don't expect to see him. But I'd like to, like you said, you can become fans of players in this league, and I'll be a fan of all these guys, that were part of our inaugural season. So I look forward to watching his game and seeing more of him, because I feel like didn't really get a great look at him this season as a fan. But very thankful he came in when he did. We did need it, and I wish he could have knocked that role out of the park and cemented a spot in the team, but I don't think that quite happened for him. Chaz?
Yeah, I mean, I think off the rip, no. I think there was that one. I do have to mention it. The Discord comment about someone buying their the sweater off Noah, one of his players' sweaters. So what it was like, what better USL one thing than finding out a player will not return because you bought his gear off him. Yeah, I just think it was a failed project.
Did not hear about that.
Oh yeah, it's in there.
Okay, I'll check it out.
So I'll have to find it for you. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just a trial run, and unfortunately, the trial didn't work. I think we do need a player. I think Titus is the player that we were hoping Noah would kind of mold into, a hold up, big, maybe more vertical. Titus doesn't have a lot of verticality. Noah was going to be kind of that vertical threat. I think that is what either unless Titus or again if Liati comes back, that is probably the striker I think we'll try and go and get, is either another outside box guy or a guy that can be a vertical, basically just a vertical threat. I think he was a good start, but unfortunately the trial just didn't work out, and he will not return.
All right, so that kind of rolls out the end of our player assessment, Charles. So I think probably a good time for us to do now, Charles. Maybe get out, jump back in, because I think we want to wrap up a little bit with possible free agents for us to go get, and anything else that we want to kind of tie a bow on, and calls down to about 8 or 9 minutes or something.
Okay.
Just one last go around, and that way we're not pressed.
Well, let me.
On ending.
How many players? I know the audience heard this already, but for my sake of being able to contribute in the same level, just tell me yes or no. Walter Varela?
We said no.
No.
Walter said no. I heard Jake. Jake was a no.
Evan Southern was a no.
Evan Southern
was a no.
Okay, Evan. Yep. And what about Leotti?
I said yes.
Yes.
Okay, we said yes to Leotti. Now you guys brought up that he was on loan.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, we did.
So
yeah, we
don't even know what that means. That if
we talked that piece. Basically, what I said in summary was basically he goes back to Lexington and ties things up with them, and unless they throw a bunch of money at him, he's probably not going to sign with them, right? And then I said that hey, when you go back and if things don't work out with you, I said Bobby probably told him, you make sure you call me if things don't work out because I want to make you an offer.
Yeah.
And I think he did.
Yeah,
he was
again
one of the guys that mentioned that he does want to be here.
Yeah.
He was one of the first.
I also mentioned that Leotti made a post on Instagram that said that basically, thank you, Portland. My time here in Portland, I fell in love with soccer all over again. So that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah. All right, I'll go with you guys. So that makes 10 players though today that we think aren't coming back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Does that fit with our
right? Yeah.
40% turnover is normal for the league, so that's about right. So yeah, we could be. Maybe we're not as wrong as we think. Yeah, you want to have another commercial break and then talk about maybe some players that maybe could help the team out. Sure. We'll be right back.
All right, so welcome back for the third and final segment of the Forest of the Tide off-season version here for Season 2 and coming out of Season 1 and kind of what our throwing spaghetti against the wall version of what we think this team might look like in year 2 here. For what it's worth, just basically trying to kind of put our thoughts out there and what we think maybe head coach Bobby Murphy may do going into year number 2, and ultimately the only person that their opinion matters is head coach Bobby Murphy. So in short order, we will see exactly what he has decided to do for this Hearts team in the early days of the offseason. Some of the players that we may have talked about stay and vice versa. But certainly something that we did want to touch upon a little bit after going through the roster is free agent possibilities, both inside of USL League One, outside of USL League One, possibly across the pond. We saw some of the fishing pools that Coach Bobby Murphy likes to shop around in, so to speak, is Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean. Saw Coach Bobby Murphy go and get players like Michelle Poon-Angeron and Natty James, and I'm sure conversations with other players as well that never came to fruition, and him going out into the Division III college ranks out there in the Midwest, and with Mickey Riley and Walter Varela and JT Kamara and then, of course, USL League One veterans like Jake Keegan and Azad Liadi going down into USL 2 and pulling in Ollie Wright. So those are all the kind of the areas that Coach Bobby Murphy has fished around for the very first version of the Hearts of Pine. And, I think kind of going through some of the groups here that we kind of have gone through and flushed out, we come up with approximately about 10 players we feel that are going to be leaving our original Hearts roster. And, where some of those holes are going to be, that's going to be Coach Bobby Murphy's job, is to go out and find players for those holes. So I guess the question would be, Charles, if you had to go ahead and look at that list that we just created for ourselves, and we're looking at some of the holes, Are there any possibilities in terms of either A, player name, or B, player areas in terms of Caribbean, in terms
Yeah.
of United States, in terms of overseas, where maybe Coach Bobby Murphy could go and find some players for these holes?
Yeah, I don't know how eloquently I can speak, or excuse me, how exactly I would say I could speak on the subject because I don't know those leagues well enough to name drop players that I'd like to see end up in ours. But I guess I just answered the question in a way that I do think Bobby goes to those leagues. I think he's had a lot of success with the international players that he brought in. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some more. That being said, I have no preference. I mean, I'd love to see American kids, young Americans on the squad. It's an international game though, so they can all be boys of Maine as far as I'm concerned.
Is there anyone in and
I'm
around
most
league?
curious.
Is there anyone in and around maybe League One that you think may be separating from some teams that you think maybe the Hearts might be interested in going out and giving them a call?
Nope, I'm not going to drop any names, but I am going to say I do want. I think the most obvious place for us to improve, regardless of how many players we let go or who comes back, but I think we need is up top in the striking position. It'd be really interesting to see who we bring in to fulfill a number 9 role and try and bring some more goals into the team on a consistent basis. I like how we pulled goals from all over the field, and I don't think we're going to change the way we play that much. So, assuming we play in a similar fashion to how we did this season, I think some of the missing pieces are just up top in the final or in that final third. So for when our midfielders, when Ollie Wright's not always scoring goals, or when Masashi Wada's not always scoring goals, that we can just have a more constant goal threat coming from the strikers. So I'm sorry, but I don't have a lot of names. Hopefully you guys do. If not, then we'll just do this all over again with Rob, because Rob has some names, and I'm not gonna take Rob's suggestions. Who he knew he couldn't be here. So shout out to Rob. He did throw us some names. I got 2 strikers in front of me, but I feel like the opportunity will present itself for Rob to talk about them on his own. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you have any names? Do you have any people in mind from USL One or other places, Shawn?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chaz.
Not you, Chaz.
hey, I guess I already leaked some of mine. My first 2, because I was like, I know we need a defender, we need a left back, because I think we said Nathan's gone.
We'll need some defenders.
Yeah, so my 2 defenders that I found, at least in League One, would be first. Let me make sure I got this name right. It is one of the Powder brothers. Let me make sure I get it right. So Noah Powder is a left back. He's from Trinidad and Tobago. He also played with Patrick Langlois at Northern Hailstorm. I think, he's a guy that, can fill the left back role. He has experience. Westchester sucked. So why not come up here? He does play regularly on the TNT squad, so he already connects with Natty and NPA. So I think that's.
I'll be right back, guys. Keep going.
Yeah, and then my other one is Breck Evans down in Naples. He played with Patrick down again at Hailstorm. Something I noticed, especially that was in the playoffs, I realized was kind of apparent, is we don't have a very strong presence within the 6-yard box of our own goal. The amount of times I saw balls just roll right in front of Hunter Morris that he had to just either save or just say, hey, I'm going to hopefully touch this ball and get it out of the box, was kind of unacceptable.
Yeah.
We would have gotten mauled by one Knoxville because a guy like Kempis Tequila lives in the 6-yard box. So I would think if we got like another experienced guy like Evans, that would be kind of that center back that could possibly do that. And then again, Noah Powder to fill in that left role when Nathan Messer leaves. So those are my 2 defensive suggestions.
Yeah, I don't have too much in the terms of names. I've only got a couple, and I think I certainly think one of the main focus areas for Coach Bobby Murphy certainly will be that left back spot, and I think will be the forward line. Really is probably the two major focuses for Coach Bobby Murphy in the offseason, and try to help out that midfield there that was doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the goal scoring sides of things. And what Bobby Murphy chooses to do will be interesting over the next several weeks and months, and then how he decides to go and fill those assumed vacant spots. Again, this is all a crapshoot, folks. We're left to our own devices on what we think this may look like, and we're just doing the best we can, trying to come up with what we think that those holes may be. And um, four spots in the defensive line is left to fill according to our roster here, and but we've got about 5 spots in the midfield to go fill, and we probably got a striker or two as well that we need to go and take care of. And if big if Liati comes back and if Titus comes back, those are two different. I say different, two similar styles of strikers, in my opinion. One a little bit more advanced in their career and their skill set than the other, Liati over Washington, right? But two very similar type of players. So you ask yourself, do you need to go out and get a taller, more aerial, not even taller, but just emphasis on aerial prowess, one that is good at getting up and heading the ball in the back of the net, set pieces, crosses in the box. We saw Nathan Messer put over 100 different crosses in the box this year, and how many headed goals did we see, right? So you have to kind of ask yourself that, and are we missing something from the striker position in terms of headed goals? So if Coach Bobby Murphy looks at that and says, yeah, you know what, I think that is something I need to go take a look at, we're going to go out and look at strikers in the box that can head it in the back and in the back of the net, and that are at least good on crosses. You can put it in off your head, you can put it in off your shoulder, you can put it off your back end. I don't really care. As long as it goes in the back of the net, I'm happy. And he may have to go look at strikers with a good aerial numbers, Chaz.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you guys have some other names. I'll maybe I can just rattle off my other 3 suggestions.
Sure.
And then just an observation I made over this weekend. So yeah, I mean, midfield, I don't really have too many. I kind of hope. I'm gonna just start with my observation. I was up in Bowdoin watching the D3, a buddy of mine. Maybe he'll try out for Hayes. Maybe you can try out to be a goalie for the Hearts. He's from USM D3, perfectly good enough. But I was up with him in Bowdoin watching D3 college, and I was like, I do hope that, especially at least in our midfield, we do kind of have now that we're gonna, let's just call it fat. Let's just say the players we do lose, I hope we do replace them, because I think we now actually have a stable if let's just say all the people that we chose to stay did stay. I think we have a very solid midfield. And I hope that makes it easy for us to, bring in a lot of college guys, D3 guys, maybe low-end D1 guys. It would be kind of nice to see that, to, again, kind of say, hey, we are a big club and we can now develop players. It would be kind of a cool way to kind of keep that heart story building, is that we do, we're not just a showy club. We can also develop players that, come here and then, they move on. So I would hope maybe the midfield is kind of the place that does kind of maybe see fresh talent, fresh guys, very young guys, because now we do kind of have a stable midfield. So that outside of that, my other 3 guys were also one of my favorites when I started watching League One. Legend by the name of Bruno Rendon. He was the Golden Boot last year with Hailstorm. He was a defender turned striker.
Yep.
He now plays with the Indy 11. He is a very good player. I wouldn't mind splashing the money again on a very experienced defender. Again, he's has experience. That's a total pipe dream. He also he's lethal, so he could totally fill in an Nathan Messer role, because Nathan was very good at scoring goals. Bruno could again be that guy that controls the left side, or is a center back and just basically gets us goals as well, because he can do that. That's what his whole season, his career was at Colorado. That's the pipe dream. The other two I have are, again, Samori Powder, also Trinidad Tobago international. He fits right in. He has no problem shooting outside of the box. If we have a Titus, we have a Liotti that are our big aerial threats. Let's just go get another guy that likes to shoot outside of the box that already knows half of our team. Perfect. And then my fifth and last suggestion is a guy. Let me make sure I pronounce this right. Let me pull it up again. Haruyuki Yamazaki, again, former Northern Colorado Hailstorm forward, Japanese international. Why not get another? He now plays for Detroit. Maybe we get another Japanese guy. It worked with Wada. Why not get Yamazaki? He already knows a couple of the guys. He has USL 1 experience. He has USL Championship experience. He did not play a lot with them. So why not get a smaller guy since we have bigger guys for forwards? But again, he could be a guy that ends up going and follows Zayed down in Texas. That's kind of our competition with those guys.
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense with, the guys we do have, and why not? So those are the ones I have. But outside of those five, I do hope we do get a lot of guys from college to kind of show off that Bobby is also a really good character builder and a great soccer builder. And just, again, make that Heart story much better, that we do build great players here, because we are a great program.
Yeah, I think the other piece of the puzzle that we may want to think about is the players that are on this team and will be on this team in year 2. Believe me, they're already whispering in Bobby's ears of players that they would love to see coming to this club, and that is a big piece of the puzzle. When head coach Bobby Murphy goes out and starts making phone calls here in December, when all contracts go down to free agency, with an exception of the players that, of course, got re-signed by their clubs and all that, right? Those guys, that's a whole different lot of players that I am not talking about. I am talking about the players that were on a 1-year deal, and the club had conversations with them and said, thank you, but your services are no longer needed. You're going to be a free agent come December 1st. Believe me, the players are in Coach Bobby Murphy's ear and saying, hey, Coach, you got to talk to this. Hey, Coach, I'm telling you, I played with this guy. Coach Bobby Murphy is hearing the stories from these players of people they want to see here in next year. And he's filling out his list. It already happened in the middle of the season when we were looking for outside back. And, Titus was, talking to Bobby and saying, hey, we had a pretty good outside back in college, and I believe he's available. You may want to give him a call. And, lo and behold, Mo Mohammed is part of the Hearts of Pine. So any thoughts on that at all, Charles?
No, I agree with you. That's what I'm hoping happens as well. So it's going to be another year of discovery for me. I feel like I don't watch enough games in USL 1 outside of our games. I just did. Every time I did, it wasn't like it. I just think we play attractive soccer, and then obviously I just want to watch the Hearts. So I don't have a lot of names, I don't want to see Tempest Tequila unless he gets a better haircut. It's important for our players. I don't want to see Obregon Jr. because
no,
don't think he's the type of player we want. I don't mind the goals. The goals would be nice. But there's I trust in Bobby, and I love the squad he built this year. I like the idea of what you're saying. I wanted to mention it, so I'm glad you did, that all the players are going to have input. And hopefully, they guide some of those signings for what we need. And I think with the right signings, we could really walk the league. Like I just thought the only thing that scares me is the turnover in general. There's so much turnover. And like I said at the beginning, I honestly would be comfortable in an ideal world to have another go with the same squad with maybe 1 or 2 additions. And that certainly is not going to be the case. So, how do you predict this stuff when you have that much turnover? At that point, is it a new team? Is it a new squad? Is it like starting fresh?
Yeah.
It's not, but it's a lot of turnover. So I'm very interested to see what the vibe is in my second season, as well as the Hearts' second season, because it's my second season as a USL 1 fan. So, I'm ready to learn. I'm ready to sit back and watch, yell a lot, cry a lot, laugh a little. And yeah, yeah, I'm just excited to see what they do. I'll react to it when it comes and look up players and that type of thing. So um, I do think there's opportunity there though to keep a really good spine and improve from this year. And to be honest, we almost got fourth place. There were not a lot of points between fourth and seventh.
Nope, there
There was a
wasn't.
little bit of a drop off to eighth. So, and we almost made the final. So you got to ask yourself, if we improve, the goal for next season is a home game and to win the whole thing. You know, those are we weren't that far away from both of those objectives this year, which is incredible. So I think everybody's expectations are going to be higher the second year, which is interesting because I think we finished above expectations, even though the goal this year was to make the playoffs. We know that Bobby told us that. But I think a lot of people just wanted to see a professional club in Portland. So, but now we've got some expectations. So that's a whole nother variable as far as fans go, as far as the whole vibe of the club goes. So super excited to see if we can improve from this first season, because if we do, we're basically winning it, in my opinion. Disagree? Agree?
Chaz?
Well, as in, I guess, are you me agreeing that I mean, I do think, yeah, I think we do get better. I think we have a good base. That's what I'm saying. If we do pull a bunch of guys that no one's ever heard about, I wouldn't care.
You still
Yeah,
like the youth. I thought that was interesting that you want to keep as much youth as we had this season, huh?
yeah. I mean, I would think being a younger club, because I think yeah, you like you mentioned, if we do live in a league where we're going to see a lot of turnover, I think we're actually going to be pretty close. I mean, I think we were all in agreement who was leaving, and even again, we weren't far off of that number. It would be very nice to set like a record, like, oh, this is the lowest turnover team to have, and it could happen. I mean, I feel like with what we have seen so far from players leaving or staying or whatnot, what they're posting at their year end is very good compared to some other teams. Whereas, like, when sometimes you don't hear about anything, the entire team just goes silent. Like Hailstorm, it was kind of silent. Um, yeah, I think we have a very good base. I do think we improve. I don't think we just fall apart. I do think there's still very good teams in the league. I don't know if we'll ever just walk the league, but I do think we would just improve. But yeah, I would prefer to keep it a younger team, because I would rather pay the players that we do want to stay, so we can say, hey, this is our franchise. This is going to be the next 2-3 years, and then we can start, eventually. Because I'm again thinking, I think Gabe knows that he wants this to be a long-term project. I want an academy type thing.
Mm-hmm.
We got to kind of build. Like, it would be cool to, again, to set that precedent where, like I was mentioning, like, if we can bring in some of these guys and make them into very good players, it again shows, first of all, how good of a person Bobby is and how good our leadership is, and kind of set that foundation for, like, oh yeah, like, we're not just a good club, like, we're actually a good, like, club from top to bottom. Because I know eventually we want an academy, we want a women's team, we want a women's academy. I don't think that's going to be a problem. But yeah, I mean, I think if we get some more players, I doubt we are going to just fall out of playoffs. That's not even a thought in my mind. Going into next year, I think it's going to be somehow even better. I think we're going to somehow fit more people in there. We're going to get way more upgrades to the stadium, even though they're not like a 10,000 person stadium. But I think it's going to get better somehow.
Yeah, I think, kind of going into year two, the roster, like you were talking about, Charles, is I think we got a pretty good spine to build from. I think we've got a pretty good foundation to build from in both supporter section and what we did this year, and the whole package, and what will attract players to Portland. And it was quite early on in the season when head coach Bobby Murphy continued to make the statement that he felt that Portland was really becoming a calling card for USL League One in terms of players, and a destination spot in USL League One where players want to go. And I think that only underlined and emboldened and put in caps as the season went on and our story unfolded in front of us and what our year one looked like. And um, the test is in front of us. And if that is indeed the case with the caliber of players that we pull in, whether it be from the league and they are familiar names, or their names maybe we haven't heard before, but we got to go ahead and do our research. And once we do our research, we go, have you seen this guy? You see what this guy's been playing? You see what this guy's been doing? And he's coming here to play for us here in Portland. This is going to be awesome. And then as we get those players and they bed in and they need a little bit of time to get acclimated and get used to the new teammates and where they like the ball in terms of passes and space and all that sort of stuff and they all start coming together again and the story repeats itself and we start clicking off some more wins next year and we see what Bobby Murphy was trying to build in year two and we end up all over again being thankful for being Hearts fans and Hearts supporters and having a Hearts team here in Portland, Maine, and for us to go and cheer them on the weekend and throughout the season. We're about to see how that all takes place here in the coming weeks and coming months here with head coach Bobby Murphy and how he's going to flush out this team for year number two. And I'm excited to see it, and I'm excited to see how he puts everything together. I'm excited to see how we were wrong tonight, and maybe how we were right tonight, and then see how that all ties back into each other. But this is part of being supporters. It's part of being fans. We get to do this type of stuff. We're kind of some of the lucky ones out there that do get to get on these podcasts and talk about this type of stuff and kind of get things stirred up a little bit. And how lucky are we to be able to do this? Also want to go ahead and throw a shout out to One Knox. The USL League One final is complete. They won 2-0 over Spokane Velocity. So this is the second year in a row that Spokane Velocity had gotten to a final, and unfortunately for them, the second year in a row, they've been blanked. First year was 3-0, and this year is 2-0. So sour taste in their mouth for that. But, they should be pretty proud of themselves. In 2 years in existence, in 2 years, they go to the final.
Yeah, I'm not sorry for him.
Charles is like, yeah, you choke on that 2-0.
I wanted Knoxville to win because they didn't come from our side of the things. So certainly didn't want Spokane to win since they advanced and we didn't. So I'm be happiest if we won, but I'm happier that Spokane had to have some misery tonight again. So to all the Spokane players that become Hearts players next season, I'm sorry. I'll never watch this episode if there are any.
Well, fun fact, now that that's over, there's now no team, pretty much since USL 1 started, all the winners have been either in the South, and Union Omaha is the only team that's not in the Southeast that's actually ever won it. It's been like North Texas, Greenville, Knoxville. I forgot another one in the South. Union Omaha is the furthest north and furthest west.
South Georgia, Tormenta, Chaz.
Yeah,
22.
There you go.
So there you go. It rolls in the South. Right now, USL 1 runs through the South and Midwest, kind of, but mostly.
Not next year. Next year, it all changes. It all changes. I think as a fan, though, everybody's excited to hear one of our new signings say that they had the experience that somebody who played it in an away day, at Fitzy.
Yeah.
One of those signings that says, "Oh, I had to be part of this. It was amazing," right? Because as supporters, we can only control our game day atmosphere, the things we can control. You know what I mean? Like the support, the podcast, the depending, on what kind of supporter you are, or just being at the stadium and contributing to that atmosphere. So anytime a player, if we have one that comes forward and says, yeah, that atmosphere was incredible and I knew I had to play here, you feel a little bit of ownership over that. And that's always like a special moment. So I'm looking forward to that.
100%. And, as we should. And that's going back to kind of, your point of we can only control what we can control. The atmosphere of a game day experience, folks, is a very, very large thing. And if we start to see players flocking to Portland, and that's one of the first things that comes out of their mouth, you can take some ownership on that because you help provide that. And you help open some eyes to some players and going, wow, I want to play on that field in front of that home crowd half of my games every year. That is impressive. I would need to be a part of that.
That's correct. I'm sure we'll get at least one of those, and that'll be a proud moment for everybody. So, yeah. I'm cooked, though. How about you guys?
Yeah, I think
that was,
I think it's time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
If you made it this far, thank goodness, and we're sorry, but also thank you.
Yeah, sorry. This can be one heck of a thing to edit, Charles.
No, it's all good. It's what I live for, Chaz. It's what I live for. But no, we'll be back with some other goodness stuff, goodies coming, and be able to hop on like this with more things postseason. Who knows what's around the corner? Who knows what the next announcement is from the Hearts? But remember, we're all in the same boat. Be respectful of the players. I know a lot of our fans, reach out to players, and we're lucky that we have players that respond, whether that's text message or in person or whatever it is. But just want to reiterate that these are professionals with a career ahead of them, and they're going to make the right decisions based on them and also what they're presented with the club. And it's always a mistake to assume that we know somebody else's situations. So just try and be really respectful to these guys, show them love and support, even after they leave. Some of them are going to leave the Hearts of Pine, but I hope that we can all be fans of these guys as well as members of the Hearts inaugural season. As long as they're not coming up against us in a final, then I encourage everybody to support them as much as you can as well, and just show them what it is. Once a Heart, always a Heart. I think we're going to learn what that's all about here moving forward. So thank you, everybody. I just want to say, up the Hearts.
Up the Hearts.
Up the Hearts.